All right, so we are now live. Let me go over here and just check, make sure we live.
Live and everything popping up. Oh. Knocked over my son's toy. Oh.
Perfect. All right.
We good?
Yep, we good. We live, everything here. So everybody that's tuning in today, welcome to another episode here. We got Golden Dunkers Live. Your host, myself, Kendal Shell, and then we have a special guest today, former Gopher, current professional hooper, still overseas, Mr. Paul Carter. Paul, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you. I'm good. Appreciate you bringing me on, giving me a chance to reach out to the Minnesota fan base and fam we got out there. Haven't talked to people in a while, so it's pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, man. Just stay connected. People like yourself that's been there, even a different, I guess, era than I was there, but very prior, right? Around 2008, around that time. And then I come around 2011. So even though we weren't connected that way, still finding ways just to connect our generations as well as all other past athletes and fans. That's what we're trying to do, because guys like yourself, man, you've played all across the world. So, I mean, as you will go into that, it's hard to stay connected. So that's what we're trying to do here, just to give fans a glimpse into what's been going on with you. Talk a little bit more even about your story, because it's hard when you're playing during that time, even to get that out there. So this should be fun to get going on it. But just to get going for anybody that may not be familiar, or some people that may not know your story prior to putting on a maroon and gold, man, just talk a little bit about growing up playing hoops, where you came from prior to coming up in Minneapolis, man.
Coming up, I'm from Los Angeles. A lot of people don't really know that, but I'm born and raised in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And grew up playing. I went to Taft High School, played there for 3 years, ended up moving to New Orleans. But even before that, man, just growing up in LA, for me, it was about basketball. Most people know my pops played back in the day, and my brothers played, and so for me, it was just natural. It was just something that I was never pushed to do. It was just something that I ended up loving it. If I could play anywhere, playground, gyms, didn't matter. I just always wanted to play. Always loved the game, watched the game. Still a fan. So, but yeah, I feel like I've been playing forever.
Yeah, Taft. A lot of hoopers went through Taft. So you grew up around that time. Who are some guys?
You know what's up, huh? Nah,
I know what's up. I mean, I got people around. I got no people. I try to get around this.
Yeah, I went to Taft, but I was never one of like the big dogs at Taft. I was still young. Still didn't hit my little growth spurt and all that when I was there. So I was just a skinny kid playing. Freshman, JV. Had 1 year coach showed me some love, had me on varsity, and we actually won a championship. No thanks to me, but nah, man. When I was there, we had some amazing guys. We had Jordan Farmar, NBA champion. We had Calvin Haynes played there. He was played at Oregon State, had a great career. We had our big boy. We had Ronell Ramsey, Joey Street, Matt Cook, excellent shooting guard out of LA. Man, we had a squad, man. It was in the year we won, it was surprising because we were a team in the Valley competing against who at the time we beat Fairfax High School, was a powerhouse.
Right.
We beat Crenshaw in the playoffs. We beat Dorsey High School in the playoffs, and it was just fun for me to experience it. I mean, I didn't really play much or at all, but it was fun for me to be there and just to have that bragging right of being an LA City champion. But yeah, man, that's where it started. But then I moved to New Orleans with my mother. Me and my mom moved out to New Orleans. I was in New Orleans for a year, still trying to find myself athletically, and as a teenager and all that stuff. Played ball there, and I did okay. I went to Bonneville High School, out in Kendal, Louisiana. We had some good players on our team also. And, I played there, still developing. And was supposed to come back the next year and finish up, but Hurricane Katrina hit.
Yeah.
So my mother and I were actually supposed to move to Chicago because she's from Chicago. And my father was out there in Chicago also with my sisters and all of that. And, but after that happened, we ended up we went to Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was just probably the last place I ever thought I'd live in my life. But went to Little Rock and ended up staying with a friend, my mom's friend, a friend of hers.
Yeah.
And, I was just bored at the house one day. And actually, I know this sounds real complicated, but my mom's friend had a friend whose son went to Mills High School. And he was like, look, man, I know you're bored. You can just come play with the team, whatever else for a day, because he knew I was going to Chicago. So he was like, just come play with us, whatever.
Right.
And I went up there and played. And at the time, I grew. I was like 6'7". I was still playing guard. So obviously, my coach, my favorite coach to this day, Tracy Allen, he, Coach Allen saw me, and I think he was really the first coach that ever embraced me as far as just like me getting the attention I wanted, not just as a player, but as a young man, and just like really him seeing the potential in me, what I could be as a player and a person. And, it was divine, it was nothing but God, man. I ended up there in a roundabout way. I ended up playing. That's kind of where I got my focus back, because like a lot of people see me now, and, I was pretty focused in college and all that stuff. But when I was young, man, I was, I'm not going to give too much detail, but it wasn't pretty, especially growing up in LA. I was doing some dumb things as a kid, and, getting Coach Allen in Little Rock really set me straight, and actually starting to get recruited and getting on the right path really changed my life.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So after that, what was that next step in that journey, hoops wise? I mean, how did you get recruited? Like what? I mean, it sounds like one, mentally you weren't really that ready, so you had to find yourself there, and then physically it sounds like you weren't that ready. Like what was that big jump to even get you?
Man, it was like, it's a lot to talk about, man. You got because all right, starting back from Little Rock, I didn't have the grades. I was never really focused on the educational aspect of school. Like, I just wanted to play basketball. Like I said, I just loved hooping. And I didn't take it as serious as I should have. But once I got to Little Rock, and it being my last year, kind of gave me a kick in the butt. It was just like, look, you got to focus in. You got to do what you got to do if you want to get to that next level. And I played. I did really well. Got all the accolades and all of that, whatever else. And I was recruited, but I wasn't. I didn't qualify for Division I. My grades weren't where they needed to be throughout the previous years, and I couldn't save it all my senior year. So it was just like, all right, the best route was going to junior college, and I went to Connor State out in Oklahoma, and I had an assistant coach named Andre Amos, who was kind of like the second coach in my life that was like not just guidance, but really believing in me, what I could be, and saw how far I could really go.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and I was under him, and he was the assistant coach. So I went there. Everything was going well, but he ended up getting a job at another junior college and leaving. So he left, and that kind of left me stuck out with the head coach, because he knew that was my guy and this and that, and it was just a bad situation.
I know where to go. Right.
Yeah. So, but the only good came out of it is I actually met my wife at Connor State out in Oklahoma. She was playing for the women's team now, and I was playing for the men's team. That's when we met. But things didn't really go well that first semester. I mean, my grades were on point and everything that, but basketball-wise, it didn't go well. And my assistant coach transferred to West Plains, Missouri, where my coach, he was coaching under Brian Osterman, who was a head coach, who was another coach who believed in me. I started actually getting some traction, and coaches believing in me. And so I just, at the semester, I was like, man, I'm out of here. I went to Missouri State, West Plains, and it was the perfect situation again, kind of like going to Little Rock. I went to West Plains, and I had to sit out my first year, but it let me sit back, kind of see what college was about, kind of see the work I had to do to compete. And what's crazy was that summer, going into technically my freshman year, I had already been there a year. I had the academics under my belt. I've been working out with the team. I've been competing, been playing in practice. Just couldn't, go to playing games or anything. And I ended up in the summertime. I ended up going to a camp called Jerry Mullins Camp. A lot of people don't know about it. It's the top 100 junior college camp, and the top players get to go. But usually, the top players are sophomore or going into their sophomore year because they played in a year. They proved themselves in junior college, so now they're going to go to the top. But me, I was only going to be a freshman. I didn't play in anything. But what happened was I had a teammate who was selected. He dropped out. He wanted to stay home with family a little longer or something. And my coach called the camp. Brian Osterman called the camp and was like, look, I got a kid. He's good enough. Just give him a look. But he's a freshman, so he's just going to come in and play. If he doesn't get recruited, whatever. It was just kind of like, let him go. Let him play.
Yeah, might as well.
Nothing to lose, right? So I go, and needless to say, not to toot my own horn, but I went crazy.
Right.
And to be a freshman at the camp was even more intriguing to the D1 scouts because I had 3 years to play,
Exactly. Kind of a dope little way to do it.
Right. Because academically I was going to graduate, so I was going to be fine. And that's where Coach Smith saw me for the first time. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Coach Taylor was there first because almost every school in the country was there. I think Coach Taylor was there first, and he saw me. I think he told Coach Smith, look, you got to come see this kid, And so I guess they came down. And what's funny is at those camps, you're not allowed to talk to the players. And, NCAA, if you're watching, you don't got to dig anything up. Nothing happened. But I'm at the camp, and, you see all the coaches, and you see Bill Self when he was at Kansas, and you see, I don't know if Calipari was there. But, you see all the top schools, whatever else. And in, the last couple of days, I think it was 3-4 days. I think the last day or so, Coach Smith came. And so, Jim is buzzing, yo, Tubby's here, yada, yada, yada. But then I'm looking like, oh, he's coming to watch my game. So then my coach that's coaching me is like, look, at the time, me and Devron Bostic were on the same team. And so I was like, yo, the coach came and was like, yo, Devron Paul, he coming to watch y'all too. And
right.
So I'm like, oh, okay. In my mind, I'm like, he ain't gonna like me here for Devron. Devron is a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Right. Devron is a monster. So I'm like, he's gonna graduate. You know what I'm saying? He's already in the system. He's known as a top player.
He already ready to bring him in right now.
Right. So I'm like, he not coming to watch me. So it's whatever. But then I ended up playing really well, and I think he, like a lot of people in the camp, and I think him himself were comparing me to Tayshaun Prince that played for him at Kentucky. And it was funny. I saw him in the hallway. They're not allowed to talk to or anything else. So, he's talking out loud like, man, that kid Paul Carter has a nice jumper. Paul Carter. I'm just like, oh, this dude's slick, But,
right.
And as soon as the camp was over, my phone rings. As soon as, the deadline was done where they can talk to us, the camp was over, if it was 6 o'clock, 6:02, my phone is like, hey, how you doing, Coach Smith? And I'm like, and at that time, I'm still kind of young. I'm like, man, it's Coach Smith. I'm like, all right, how you doing? Yeah, right. This is Coach Smith. I just saw you in the hallway. I told you I had a nice jump. I'm like, oh, okay, this is Coach Smith, And, along with other coaches, obviously Minnesota, him, Coach Taylor and Coach E, Coach Esposito, Coach Jersa, all of them, they impressed me the most and felt like that's where I wanted to be. But, I kind of went the roundabout way, but I ended up getting to Minnesota that way, and I was blessed, man.
No, yeah, that's a crazy way just to get there. What coach was that coach that really connected with you the most of those four throughout that process and stay connected?
Stay connected. Definitely Coach Taylor. Okay. Coach Smith, I haven't talked to Coach Smith in some time, but Coach Smith is Coach Smith. He's busy, he's got his stuff going on. And I don't know if he's big. He's not really big on the social media tip and all that. Because I really talked to, I talked to Coach Taylor. He's on Facebook or something else. He'll post something, and I'll say congratulate, whatever else, And Coach E has hit me from time to time on Twitter. But all those coaches, man, it was funny. They all played a part in my growth and just becoming a better player. What's funny is Coach Jersa. Funny story, coming up real quick. Coach Jersa, I think when I first got there, I don't think we really had much of a relationship. I don't know if I wouldn't say he didn't like me. He did not like anybody. but it's kind of like you always had to prove yourself with him, you know?
Oh yeah, respecting kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly. And I remember the first few days, he was like, "This isn't junior college anymore. You need to do this." And I was making a lot of mistakes, you know. I was just like, "All right, whatever." But what's crazy is, as the year went on, and especially going into that second year, I think he really started to. We really had a better relationship. You know, he was always, you know, if I'm walking off the court and Coach Smith is chewing me out, you know, he was right there. Paul, it's all right. He always say, "Babe, Paul, it's all right, babe. You're good." You know, and I'm like, "All right, cool." You know, like I got you. I don't think he even knows to this day how much he helped. You know, and how much a big factor he was in helping me really just stay focused and keep my spirits up there.
For sure, that's a big thing. Like when I talk to like coaches today and just talk about how to motivate players and all that, like it's important. I think at a college level, Coach Jersa was a good soft spot at times. I feel like when Coach Smith might be kind of going off on one of his at that time. Like I feel like every staff needs that. They kind of complement each other. And like how you said that, I think Coach Jersa was that person for sure. During that time, so you played, what years was it?
This was, I want to say 2008 until 2010, if I'm correct.
Yes, 2008 to 2010. And you had a tournament. You played in a tournament during that time.
Did I lose you?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear you. Hold up.
You hear me now?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, 1 second. You good now?
Still nothing.
I will try to reset.
No. Dang, we were just saying how we didn't have problems.
I know, right? How about...
Let me see. Headphones. Try headphones. Oh, no.
How about now?
No, still not. Hold on. Let me see if I... This is actually my gaming headset, but let me see if I can hear it.
Okay.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Nah, nothing. Maybe, is there a microphone option on here?
Are you able to hear me now? How about now? You got it? You good now?
Yeah. Dang. All right. Yeah, we're good. My bad.
Cool. Yeah, who knows? Sometimes it takes some reflection. I was on one the other day and it happened as well. But what we were talking about was in regards to your playing for the Gophers during that time. So we were talking about coaches. But so you made the tournament. Which years did you make the tournament when you were playing?
I think that was my first year was the 08-09 season, if I'm correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How was that? How was that during that time? Was that something expected? Was that, I mean, I know Coach Smith, the way he coaches, he never lets you think anything expected.
Nah.
So how was that like going into it? Like how surprised really were y'all?
Man, well, you know what's funny is me coming from junior college and going to a big program and seeing the talent we had and playing against the talent that we played against. I wasn't surprised. I was like, yo, we got some killers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I watch college basketball a lot, and I see teams that make the tournament and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, I think we're good. I think we're good enough to
Right.
make it.
Yeah.
And man, like, yo, that team was tough. Man, like, because it was crazy. Because we came in when I came in. I mean, I was, I came in. Well, first I came in with Devron, DeVoe, Ralph, Colton,
Mm-hmm.
and what's crazy is like we had so much talent. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, and I think that at the time it was frustrating for me as a player. I'm like, man, why am I not playing more? Why am I doing this? You got to understand, like I'm sharing minutes with Damian Johnson. You know what I'm saying? I'm sharing minutes at the 3. I'm sharing minutes at the 4 with, you got Lawrence Westbrook, who's a ridiculous scorer. I mean, obviously Al Nolan is the floor general. You know what I'm saying? Like probably one of the best point guard. I played with a lot of great point guards. Probably one of the best point guard I played with. And
Yeah.
it's just like in my mind, we were really good.
Right.
So when we made that tournament run, I think everybody else was more surprised than we were. And to be honest, as hard as we worked, I would have been really mad if we didn't make the tournament because Coach Smith had us up 5 a.m. every day. Like this wasn't preseason workouts, this was practice. Allen Iverson talking about practice. Like this was in the morning, getting taped at 5:45 by Roger Shipper and being on the court ready to go at 6 o'clock, warm, ready. Like you had to be ready. Like it was. And in my head, I was like, "Yo, we working this hard. We better win the championship." Cause coach is always like, "Nobody's up this early." I'm like, "Well, we better win then, because I'm
Yeah.
exhausted."
Right.
But,
For real.
no, man, it was a great run, and just obviously selection day is always a big day for college athletes, and I can't. I mean, I don't know. Forgive me, but I don't know the history of Minnesota before we made it. I don't know how many years, if they didn't make the tournament or if they're close or whatever else. But I know it was really big for us making it that time, especially. I think that was Coach Smith's first time making it since he was there, because that was only his second year, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So it kind of solidified his coaching and our play, and I think people started to take us serious. I think that they looked at us as, okay, these guys can really play, and Coach Smith is really doing his job. So.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of talent when you look back on that during that time. I mean, you talk about even those freshmen that you came in with, that recruiting class. I mean, that's a tough class. You got Al early on, and then Damian Johnson too. I mean, y'all had some killers for sure.
It was practice. Like practice was a war, man, every day, because it wasn't. I mean, obviously, as college basketball, it should be a war every day. But the talent that we had, but the way that Coach Smith set up the games, you know what I'm saying? Like the way he subbed, because he was 5 in, 5 out, platoon,
Right.
and
Yeah.
everybody's kind of fighting in practice, trying to prove like, no, I need to be out there. I need to do this. I can do that. But Coach Smith knew that he had, certain talent, and that was just coaching style. And as frustrating as it was as an individual, I think team wise, it really helped us because we had a lot of good guys in the team. We didn't have any selfish guys, and it's hard when everybody's taking the same amount of shots, same amount of time. So it's like nobody can really bark and say, "Oh, I should have had the ball. I should have did this and that." So I mean, as frustrating as it worked out in the end, and it was a crazy team, man. He can mix and match everybody. He was playing me and Dame from 2 to 4, playing Ralph Colton 4-5. Al can guard anybody. DeVoe Joseph can score on anybody. Lawrence Westbrook was a bucket. I mean, it was just Damian can guard the 1 to the 5. Like it was ridiculous. And then you got to understand we had Blake sharpshooter. We had Travis Bush at the time, workhorse, like would run through a wall. My first year, Jamal Bushamala knocking everything down like Big John. It was wild, man. We had a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Tubby practices go. He would be intense. They would be intense. People don't know about Tubby practice. It's crazy, especially when you're talking that 5 a.m., 6 a.m. time. For us, only half of the week was the early practice, but obviously summer was what came first. So that started at 5 a.m. no matter what.
Right.
When I first saw how much he yelled at 5 a.m., I was like, oh, man.
Dude, like, that's the funny thing about it. That was like kind of like in my mind, I used to be like, yo, is he mad this early in the morning? Is this just him?
He would just be mad early.
Like, he wasn't mad. That's just the way he was coached. I mean, that's the way he coached, man. And he was, you know, just this, I would say, like a military type guy. Went to High Point. Like, you know, he just was everything by the book. You know, he wanted it the way he wanted it. And, you know, one thing I always understand, like, I'll be real. I'll be totally honest with Minnesota, with fans, whatever else. Like, it was hard for me. Playing for Tubby Smith was by far the hardest thing I had to do in basketball in my life to this day.
Yeah.
But because I played for Tubby Smith, I have had a 10-year pro career because no coach, I can have a European coach, EuroLeague, and whatever it is in the world, and they can start barking and yelling at me. I'm just like, man, you a chihuahua compared to what I dealt with in college. So I'm not even worried about that. And you know that it was terrible. It was tough going through it, but you know I respect it and I appreciate it now because I mean it molded me into a type of player where it's just like, look, no matter what you throw at me as a coach, I'm gonna adjust, I'm gonna adapt, I'm gonna do what I have to do. But yeah, 5 a.m.s, man, it was nothing nice.
Those 5 a.m.s were nothing nice. Those mile runs were nothing nice. I was very surprised at the numbers he put out there. But, yeah, Tubby demanded a sense of excellence, I feel like, from all his players. And, like, I mean, we were just so young.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's so young. You don't even realize what he's doing. But after you do realize, like, man, he put us through some stuff, but for a reason.
Yeah, like the crazy thing is that I remember Saul. I was talking to Saul. I used to talk to Saul a lot too, and Saul was always a big like confidence instiller in me and a lot of other guys. You like, cause Saul, you know, Saul. I mean, he just he gonna say what he got to say.
Good spirits.
Yeah, and you know he'd be like, Carter, man, you can't trip, man. Like you just gotta do your thing. And I'm like, bro, like I'm like Saul, I don't know, but he told me.
Saul.
Like Saul told me one day, and it stuck with me to this day. He said, Paul, I know coach is hard on y'all, but imagine if your livelihood depended on 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Like, how would you coach them? How would you approach it? How strict would you be to make sure that they succeed and you succeed? And I was just like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's like, deep.
So it helped me really put into perspective. Like when you're in the thick of it, you don't want to hear that. You're like, man, whatever, I would hear that. But now being 32, about to be 33 years old, is just like, wow. Like, what if I was blessed to, you know, be a coach or whatever else? Like, you really have to make sure that these young men are on the court, not just executing in basketball, but you got to make sure they're going to class, they're not getting in trouble, you know, they're not. And that's one thing I will say about Coach Smith that a lot of people don't really know. Like, off the court, Coach Smith was great. Like, if we needed something, if, you know, I remember me and Damien and I forgot who else it was. Like, we couldn't go home for Thanksgiving. And he was like, man, look, like, come to the house, whatever else, eat with me. You know, like, it was just he made sure we were okay. And it's just like, off the court, it was fine. But on the court, you know, it was tough because that was not only his livelihood, but he had to make sure the program succeeded. He had to make sure Minnesota basketball succeeded. He had to make sure he had the state on his shoulders. You know, he had to make sure everything was great. And it was hard, but, I mean, it is what it is.
For sure, yeah. I feel like playing for Tubby is something that's really appreciated more so after. You appreciate it more than that. Definitely more so after. But, yeah, when you put in perspective just developing us on the court, but then off the court, the stuff he was doing foundation-wise, and, like, we could see it, and then when he involved us and stuff like that, and then also when he just had at-home events and stuff like that, that's the stuff that you do appreciate. Like, you get that glimpse into the home. Like, those are memories I have, like 4th of July stuff like that.
Yeah.
Over there and just chilling with them, like, that's a good time. And then the same with Miss Smith. Donna, like.
Oh, man. Mr. Smith, man, I know you love the cookies, bro.
The cookies on the bus?
Oh, man. I promise you, they make a 20-point loss feel good. You be like, all right, cool. I'm getting these cookies, though.
Bro, she had the cookies on deck. She had all of
Nah,
them,
she's the
bro.
sweetest woman ever, man. Always love, always like we were her children, man. She's awesome. I
Yeah,
really appreciated her.
that's a real thing. Like when you like going in recruiting the families, like that's showing that you have that mom figure as well as that father figure. Like I feel like parents appreciate that type of stuff, and
Yeah,
then
for
actually
sure.
following through with that stuff, it was cool. But no, you talk about playing for Tubby, and like how it's probably the hardest thing, but it also helped you in your
Mhm.
10-year career. I mean, if there's one, two things from playing from him, what is it that really sticks out to you that kind of made you better? Was it just the disciplinary style he had, or is there anything
It was.
specific that Tubby
Mhm.
did for you that really grew you as a player during that time, looking back on it?
Um, I'll definitely speak on the discipline part of it as far as the structure of playing. Um, Coming in to Minnesota, I wasn't one track minded, but my mind was I have the ability to score the ball. That's
Mhm.
why you recruited me. That's why you saw me. This is what I do. I get loose. Whatever else. I handle the ball. I make the fancy play. This is what I do. But when I got to Minnesota, coach is very structured, very ABC, very minimal dribble, and I was really frustrated with it. But it was either you adapt or you just sit at the end of the bench forever. So I'm like, all right, let me figure it out, make the right passes, find out how to be efficient within his offense and his program and defensively, whatever else. And I think from my career on the discipline side from him, it's helped because a lot of people don't understand that European basketball or overseas is very structured. You're not going to watch a European game and see a guy, James Harden, the team. He's not going to dribble, dribble, dribble. Not no disrespect to James Harden or anything. I'm just saying it's just different basketball.
Mhm.
And when I got to Europe, it
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. In my mind, I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to get loose, maybe this and that. But now I saw like, oh, it's really structured. I could do this. I just did it. I know how to make a certain play. I know how to set a proper screen. I know how to get open without, running to the ball. I can backdoor cut. I know how to do a lot of things that Coach Smith taught me. And then on the defensive side, I mean, obviously, I feel like that's Coach Smith's strong point. My
Right.
defense was phenomenal as far as coaching because my defense is, it isn't great. I was never Al Nolan, Damian Johnson. They're the defenders. I was just trying to be in the right spot and use my length and use my hustle and my energy to really make it work. And I think that helped a lot because, I mean, his defensive strategies were the best I've ever had. So I definitely carry that with me. And just honestly, like I said, the part that I didn't like is just how tough he was because I don't know anybody who likes that type of stuff when they're going through it. But
Oh,
it really helped me not just as a player, but as a person too, because I've dealt with people outside of basketball who are like, "Oh, my boss did this, this, and this," or "I can't believe so and so said this to me." And I'm like, "Whatever. It sounds nice to me." Like I used to wake up at 5 a.m. and it wasn't pretty. Like you know what I'm
right.
saying? So dealing with those type of things, like it's definitely helped me grow in a lot of ways. And playing for Coach Smith, like I said, it's almost like that ridiculous. I'm about to sound like a nerd, but it's like that Dragon Ball Z like training. Like you hate it, you hate it, you hate it, but then it's like once you get out of it, you're like, oh, I'm this powerful, I'm this strong, I can deal with anything type deal. So you know,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, that's how it is. And yeah, you talk about Damien and Al and that. I imagine those practices y'all were battling back then, bro. I wish I could
man,
see him looking back on some of them and who was all. Did BA play with y'all too? Did Brian Allen play when you were there?
yeah,
BA,
yeah.
I'm from St. Louis, so
Oh,
BA from where I'm from. So we used to hoop against each other growing up all the time. And so
okay.
I knew he was a bucket growing up. But I remember
Dude,
he came, obviously stuff didn't work out the right way, but I knew he was a bucket. And he used to talk about how, like, boys, it used to be battles back then.
dude, BA used to get it in too, but BA was
Yeah,
playing football, right?
yeah. He was, in high
See,
school, BA won track, football, and basketball championships for 3 straight years.
yeah.
He was just an athlete, bro. But he was an athlete. Like, he always played football, too. So I think
Right.
he was.
See, that was tough because like BA came the next year, and Lord, the next year,
Yeah.
Royce White, Trevor Mbakwe, BA came after football season, Justin Cobbs, bruh, it was like practice went to a whole nother level. And you gotta understand, like, where we stood, like, we just went to the tournament, we just brought Minnesota back, like, yo, look, this is what we do, this is how we work. But then you got Royce coming in benching 280 as a freshman, and he talking about it's like taking over the program in a good way, like not arrogant, just like, yo, I'm coming in, I'm about to go to the league type
but
stuff.
He Royce.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I love him to this day, man. That dude, Royce he's just one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes in, and then it's like, all right. So Damien's like, man, nah, like we playing pickup in the barn, and now I gotta lock him down. There's no way. But then you got Trevor coming in, and dude, I mean, you know about Trevor. Everybody knows about Trevor.
Right.
So it's just like you got him and Colton battling, and this is when Colton's coming into his own. And then you got Justin coming in, and then it's like Justin and Al and DeVoe competing. But Westbrook and Blake, like, no, I still do this. I still like this, dude. It was so much going on in those runs, in the practices, and it elevated our team. And we went to the tournament a second time, but it was just like I said, it was so much talent that the way Coach Smith coached, it was just too hard to balance. I think because you got guys like, I mean, they were more successful than I was, but when I transferred to UIC, I had a good year. My numbers went up. I got my pro looks, whatever else. But you got to understand, like, DeVoe Joseph left, made a crazy impact. Justin Cobbs left, crazy impact. Colton Iverson drafted. Like, that we had so much talent. Royce White, obviously. Well, he left for other reasons. But we had so much talent. Yeah. It was just like having all of that on one team. And Damien, I remember me and Damien talking about, he like, bro, we're supposed to be Final Four with this talent. Like, but it was just so hard to balance. There's only so many minutes. There's only one ball. Like, everybody wants to do this, and this, and especially coming off the year that we went to the tournament. So now I'm feeling like, all right, I proved myself. Now I should be playing more, or I'm not looking for the ballers. I just want to play more. Because I think most of us, the only person, the most minutes on the team played was like 22, 23 minutes. When you playing against Ohio State and Evan Turner playing 37 minutes and giving triple doubles, and we looking like, man, come on, like,
right? Like, and everybody on the team, like, yo, this dude, if he doing that, you can check him. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, bro. I can't imagine the 4 or 5 front court battles that y'all had, like when you're down there in those type of pickups. Because for me, we had good big man, but it was always like 1 or 2, and then like the others are kind of really young and really not developed. But you got Royce and Trevor coming in fully developed. You talking about you already that's been through it. Then you talking about a Colton Iverson who's already been under a year. Then you say Ralph as well. Then you got Damian Johnson, who the all Big Ten blocker. So I mean, I'm trying to imagine being a guard trying to finish at the hoop.
And not even that. Imagine trying to be me. Like, I was struggling because I came in to play the wing. I came in as a 3. But my first year, Damian got hurt. So then I got moved to the 4. And I played 4-3 the rest of the year. Then it was like Trevor had his incident. Royce had his incident. So it was like they got in some trouble. So coach wasn't sure if they were going to be playing. So we had another meeting. He's like, Paul, I hate to do this to you again. I know you're more of a wing. You handle the ball. You do this. But I got to put you back 4 or 5. Bruh. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, these dudes are benching 250. Like, these dudes are ridiculously strong. Damian, too. Damian was skinny, but Damian was stronger than me. So I'm just like, oh, my gosh.
He said something about how much Cal had him lifting.
Dude, Cal, I love Cal. That's my guy. And Cal got all of us right. I'm surprised Cal got me benching like 235 because I came in stick figure. But,
yeah,
dude, going up against those guys, I remember quick story. I remember we did a rebound drill. You remember those orange things they put in the hoop? And like,
in the hoop, and he'd shoot it every time. Smith with his little.
He put 3 people in the drill, side top. Royce White, Trevor Mbakwe, me at the top. Bruh. And he laughed, though. Like, he was laughing, like, come on, Paul. I was just like, oh, come on, man. Like, not today, coach. You going to put me against the 2 strongest dudes I've probably ever seen?
Yeah.
Like, and it was, I fought. Don't get me wrong, I was scrappy, but I was like wiry scrappy. I can't push. I couldn't, I was 200 pounds with a wet T-shirt on. So I was like, I couldn't do anything against them. But It was a battle. And then you had Ralph and Colton going at it daily. Then you throw, even that they didn't play that year, they had Trevor and Roy still in practice. So it's like they're still beating us up. They scout team every day.
Exactly.
They're beating us up like it, and laughing about it, you know?
Laughing, mad. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you being at the top of the key with Royce and Trev. I mean, I played in pickup games with both of them, and catching an elbow from either of them.
Oh yeah,
it ain't right, and that's how Trev lead.
Yeah, and that was my mindset when I was like, look, maybe if I go in here and catch an elbow, I'll just be out the drill, whatever. Like maybe I can just go sit down. I'm just gonna go hard as I can. If they knock me out, then cool, it's over with. Because if you go in there half stepping, if you go in there soft, they're gonna tear you apart. Like Royce and Trevor are different, man.
What was different?
Al and all of them.
Athleticism. What's different about Trevor and them? I feel like
I didn't even talk about Rodney. Oh my
goodness. Was Rodney there?
Rodney, I can't even believe I forgot Rodney.
I would never forget. We had Rodney in his senior year. I thought I've never had anything like Rodney personally as a teammate, ever.
Rodney came in, and this one I was still playing the 3. And the funny story is, I remember we were playing in California. We were in a tournament, and I'm starting at the 3 right now. So I'm like, cool. I'm starting at the 3 this year. This is early on. I'm playing well. I'm probably averaging like 11, 12. I'm playing well. Rodney checks in for me, like comes off the bench, goes baseline, and one on somebody ridiculous. Steal, floats a 360. Boom, comes back down, catches a lob, and one. Coach Smith was like, Paul, I'm going to keep him in for a second. I was like, oh, after that, and I remember Al coming like, man, don't worry about it, man. It's going to be okay. I was like, man, I just lost my spot to Rodney. But he was amazing. Like, his athleticism was like nothing I've ever seen.
It was crazy, and I don't think it dropped off anything from when I got there, and it was ridiculous. Rodney's still to this day the only person like I've seen that can just walk into a gym, flip-flops, no stretch, and just go between the legs 360.
Easy.
And it's light.
Easy.
And it's light, and Rodney's bounce was something different. I never seen anything like it. I saw some Big Ten like tweets over the past year about best dunkers, blah blah. I'm like, man, it ain't no question.
No comparison.
I saw some of the ones that were options, like we've seen them on TV. Someone play Rodney, no question. Like what Rodney had, bro, I've never seen anything like it. Still to this day, like, and
I played against a lot of. I mean, playing in the G League. Well, now the G League. It was a D League when I played. But playing in the G League, even to now, and playing with some NBA guys, whatever else, like. Rodney, like I played against Gerald Green, matched up against him a few times. I put Rodney in that category, like him, Gerald Green. Like you got Tarico White I played with, jumps out the gym. Shannon Brown, like those type of guys. He's a super athlete. It's unreal.
Yeah, it was crazy. So back to my point. That front from 3, 4, 5 position. Everyone that's not a 1 or 2 guard, bro, any rebounding drill, anything like that, can't imagine. I can't imagine trying to fight for a rebound in the game. Everybody.
Well, that's the funny part. Practice made it easy in the game. Because in the games, I was average. I mean, I wasn't playing a lot. I think I was averaging like 4 or 5 rebounds, which is a lot for the time I was on the floor. But it was just like playing with them in practice. I'm like, yo, I can go grab any rebound now. I'm not the most athletic guy, but if I go fight for it, I can go get it. And it was, it worked.
Who was the toughest match for y'all around that time? I mean, not just rebounding, physicality. Well, really physicality-wise, like who matched me? Was it Michigan State still back then? Or
Michigan State for sure. Michigan State, because that's the years when I was there. That was the years they went. Was it championship? I think they went to the championship twice. Because they beat, or did they?
They might have.
Wow. They went against somebody and lost. North Carolina. They lost to North Carolina, I think, my first year there. And the second year, they went Final Four maybe. Because it was like Duke and Butler, I think, my second year. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Butler. That's when Butler made they run.
But they went Final Four. And we were never afraid of Michigan State. Like, we won because obviously they were the big dogs. We were like, yo, we coming in to fight anyway. But, I mean, with Raymond Morgan, Draymond Green, obviously, they had Darrell Summers. They had some athletes. And it was just like when we played against them, it wasn't that they're more physical, but I think that they were faster, if that makes sense. Like, they were just – the way they played, it was like out the net. They had that sideline, fast break, boom, 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 pistol screen, and they were just in the action. Compared to us, it was more like slow down, get it in the post, set a screen. So it was like playing against them was a track meet, and it was just like, bruh, like it was tough.
Yeah, that's tough because most people just get beat by their physicality and their speed, but y'all kind of had a bet at the physicality piece because of that they played that speed with that speed as well, and y'all weren't even just accustomed to that. And then that's the problem is then you try to start playing like that, then it's a wrap.
Right. Well, that's why we ended up getting them in the Big Ten tournament, because what happened was they beat us during the year, but we got them in the we like, look, this is Big Ten tournament. That's why we went to the Big Ten championship. We got smacked by Ohio State, but we we beat Michigan State. It was because we came in knowing how fast they were, and Coach Smith, obviously the coaching staff always did their job, and they came up with a plan. Look, we're going to stop their speed because they're not as physical as we are. So when Kalen Lucas or whoever else got the inbound, Al and all them jamming them. DeVoe Joseph jamming them. Justin Cobb jamming them. Right here. If they don't have speed on us, they want to fight with us on that. That's what we do. We sub 5 in, 5 out. So you're gonna be dealing with a whole platoon each time. So it was like it ended up working out. We beat them that time, and I was very happy because Draymond was talking a whole lot. And it was just, that's Draymond, but
Early. What year was Draymond doing that time?
Say it again.
Was that like Draymond's freshman year?
No, that had to be his, I'm going to say sophomore.
Okay. Yeah, right. He was a senior when I was there, and that was 2011 to 2012.
Yeah, he was probably a sophomore. So he wasn't Draymond yet, but he was still.
By the time he was Draymond, like we was there, like his last year, like knowing he runs
he was looking like magic,
That and the talking. Like when you say you were talking then, bro, it's everybody. It's all us on the bench not playing. It's anybody that's not wearing Michigan State. And that was like the scary part. They the only ones I know that actually really lived up to their talk.
Yeah.
Like, that was the tough part. And then playing in that arena, I don't know for you, but it's probably Michigan State or Indiana, but probably Michigan State as far as toughest places.
Michigan State tough. You know what's crazy? A lot of guys say Indiana, but I loved Indiana. Like I always played well in Indiana, but because of their environment. And it was just like, I don't know, like Michigan State was like different because I was more worried about the track meet aspect of it. And I was like, man, they killing us, the crowd going crazy. But Indiana wasn't that good when I was there.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, they weren't like a powerhouse or anything. They didn't, like Oladipo wasn't there. They didn't have this is like between the time. I think Verdell Jones was a point guard. He was really good, by the way. But Verdell Jones, and they had was it Christian Watson? Something like that. I don't know. They had a decent team, but they weren't the Indiana of the past. So when we played there, it was hype, but it was like, man, we got these dudes. Like like it was dope. But I think Michigan State for sure. Purdue was tough just because I didn't like it there. I don't think
that's what everybody says too.
I didn't like it. It was just the way the gym was. Like,
did you win there?
No,
bro. We never won. No one in my 4 years won there either at Purdue.
I didn't win. And when I was there, they had Robbie Hummel, they had Juwan Johnson, they had they had Etuan Moore. They they had a squad, and I mean, we beat them too in the Big Ten tournament. Like we beat these guys. We beat them throughout the season, whatever else. But like it was at home usually. It was never like, I don't know, just the colors. I don't know. I hate Purdue.
They have like a little weird section down there for people like courtside. Like they have interesting. That's an interesting setup in there. But Michigan State, I feel like the team overpowers you.
Yeah,
and they overpower you, and then like when they're running you, then the fans get on you too. That's what gets me. They're like right there, and it's like
Izzo's energy didn't help either. Because he's talking crazy. Kill him. I'm like, no, man. But what's crazy, like I got some great stories about Izzo because I think I loved Izzo. Like after every game we played him, he pulled me aside, gave me a little pep talk, whatever else. Like said he loved me, whatever else, because he was just like, I wanted to kill Michigan State. Like, I didn't like Draymond talking. I didn't like how they tried to play. I didn't like. I mean, I it was cool, but to me, I'm like, yo, you're not gonna step on us like this. Like, I didn't like it, and it was frustrating. And so every time I played against them, it was like probably I don't even remember making any skill plays. I think it was just all hustle. Like I'm running through a screen, I'm diving on the floor, like I'm trying to get the craziest rebounds. I do not like y'all. And
I hate
unfortunately, my sister graduated from there. But whatever.
I think she just said it in there. My alma mater in the comments.
Oh, I see you, Bria.
See,
Man.
nah.
Here we go. We're done talking about Michigan State if you're in the comments.
I know we giving away too many compliments, but just one more thing on, like you said, Izzo, like I don't ever forget that too. Hearing him over there and how he talked, and like he really sets the precedent for that program because that's how they approach every team. And just like you, it's like a sense of like masculinity. Like, yo, you're not gonna just walk all over me out here. Like, and all his players play like that though too. It's a crazy way to play. But them, Purdue was tough, and then Indiana, it wasn't as tough during your time. During our time, if you were watching, it was like that was probably the toughest team. They were number one when we played them a lot. So it was.
Oh, here she goes.
Winning team. No, we off that now. We off that. But coming in, I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Just the route you took, a roundabout route coming from that JUCO, that experience, and nowadays, I mean, it's always going to be a topic of conversation. What route kids should take? What's the right route? Like, talk a little bit about that JUCO process. One, I know we had a few JUCO guys that came in with me, and especially playing for Tubby. So playing for somebody like that sets such a high precedent. But also just in general, as far as transition from JUCO and just playing at that next level, man. Talk about just some of the stuff you learned from it, right? Like if you had advice for other people, like what you got prepared for, just everything about that.
I mean, going to my experience before I get to the advice part, like JUCO is dog eat dog. Like you gotta understand, like you're coming. I think JUCO is really not even respected the way it should be because there's tremendous talent in junior college. Just a lot of guys who couldn't, get the grades right or had some trouble in school, whatever else, and that's the only route they can go. And I was at the top JUCO. We went 27-5, I believe, or something like that. We had ridiculous talent. But when you go to JUCO, your mind has to be really focused on where you want to be and where you want to get to, because you're going in, you're not just competing against other teams, you're really competing against teammates sometimes as well, because they're trying to go Division I also. And you got to understand, your coach might be trying to go Division I also. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like the G League, like everybody's trying to get to the NBA. It's you have to go in and really be focused on what you want to do and how you want to do it. Because if you go in there and just think, oh, I'm going to do this and that and go D1, it's not going to happen. Like you really, and then also, obviously, if you're in there for academic reasons, you have to get your academics right. But junior college is a grind, man. It's you're not going to have all the perks that Division I teams have. You're not going to have the managers. You're not going to have I guess it depends on what junior college you go to. But the one I went to, West Plains, was a really great junior college. They operated almost like a D1. We didn't have the personnel as far as staff and managers and all this stuff, but we had, good strength and conditioning. We had great practices. Like Brian Osterman was a good coach, and then my guy was there, I was telling you before, Andre Amos, and we really had development. And we had a lot of talent, so a lot of schools were coming in to see us, and a lot of guys got scholarships off of that. And I had some great teammates who, were focused. And, I mean, sometimes you get some knucklehead stuff on that level, but it is what it is, But JUCO is definitely – I don't think it's a route that should be frowned upon. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going JUCO, and they kind of write you off. Right. But you can really become something great from junior college. Like if you really go in and handle your business, it's just like any other situation. So I think that junior, like a lot of kids, like, no, you should send your kid to prep school. You should send them this and that. And I'm just like, look, junior college isn't bad if you really at a good school. And a lot of schools like West Plains, I know like Three Rivers is great in Missouri. Also, they've have a great coaching staff. I remember dealing with them a little bit. And even a school like Counter State that I transferred from, it's still a good junior college, So it's just like, if you go to a good situation, regardless, I think that you can make it work. But it's really going to be solely a lot on you. There's not going to be the surrounding elements that really support you rising. It's going to have to be you really solely focused on what you want to do. So,
no, yeah, that makes sense, and it's hard for dudes that's in it Like when I talk and work with younger athletes, like when you in it, it's hard to think about that type of
for
stuff.
sure.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's good advice for that piece of. But yeah, you made that move up to Minnesota though, and I guess everybody always talks about all the Fortune 500s and everything around the community around here in the city. And like, was it a real thing? I mean, you transitioned. You've been to a lot of schools. You've been to a lot of parts of the world. I mean, just rank the community support here. Like, is it a real thing? Like, is it really something that's big?
The community and support for Minnesota is like none other. And what's funny is when you think about University of Minnesota, it's I want to say it's the only Division I school in the state, right?
Yeah.
It's the only Division I school in the state, but it's really a sense of community as far as people supporting you. Like, man, like I wouldn't say I regret it, but I wish that I was able to be there on my senior night and really thank everybody who not just supported me as a player, but supported my family, dealing with my sister, all that stuff that was going on with me. Like I really felt embraced. Like I really felt like people really cared.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you play at schools and you might think, oh, they just want to be nice to me because I play basketball. They just want a piece of me because my name is on ESPN and I'm wearing the gopher across my chest or whatever else. But playing in Minnesota, really, I met some genuine people, even, people who were around the club, whether it was financially or just fans or whatever else. Like, I don't know if it's Minnesota nice, or I don't know what it is, but people were just very genuine. And I really, like, you'll never forget, even to this day, like when I'm playing, overseas or whatever else, still getting love, still getting support. And it's just, it's crazy to think about because I was there, especially for me. I wasn't a top player. My name is never going to be in talks for being retired jersey, or I didn't have the Big Ten accolades or anything like that, but I still get so much support for just, doing something that I love to do. And, I appreciate it. The support is great. And I feel like a lot of athletes coming into college, if they can go to school, I mean, they'll get the support, obviously, from a lot of schools who have the same type of network, same type of community. But, I mean, Minnesota, it's great, even like just the location. I mean, it's not like you're off in the sticks somewhere and all the fans are like you're right there in the heart of the city. You can go to the Target Center, you can go wherever, like you can go to Mall American and still, you can still be around the people. You can still see people out. Like I used to see people out all the time and they would show love and they would just, or they'll try to coach me. But still it was all from a good place. But
right.
The support out there is just it's amazing, man. Minnesota is I mean, I haven't gone to any other Big Ten programs or whatever else, but I would say Minnesota's definitely got to be up there.
For sure. I mean, when you talk about just not being out in the sticks, at least, 8 out of the 12 Big Ten schools when we used to be on the buses, like you're out around, like where we at?
Man,
You know what I mean? Like
you're in Penn State with your head in the swivel, like what's going on out here?
Man, Penn State, we were there. We ain't even gonna get into it, but we were there a few years where things were definitely questionable. So during that time, we was definitely head on the swivel, like, and of all places, Penn State or whatever that was. I don't know where we were staying.
Penn State was random. It was just that's how I felt about Purdue too. I was like, yo, where's this gym? Like what?
Right, Illinois. I didn't know where Illinois' gym was at.
Oh man. Illinois was on a whole nother level. No disrespect, DJ. My man DJ Richardson, that's my guy, but I had no love for Illinois.
He was a bucket.
Yeah, but we played together in Finland, man. Crazy times. But yeah.
Guess where you played there before? How long were you over there?
In Finland?
I guess just to transition off of that.
My bad. I'm jumping.
That overseas talk. I mean, how long were you over there though? And
I was in I bounced around a bit. Like each year I kind of bounced around, but I was in Finland for a year.
Yeah.
And DJ Richardson was on my team, my point/shooting guard.
He was a bucket. He was there when we was there for a little bit.
Man, it was, and the offense we had was tough. Like our coach was just like, Paul, your turn, DJ, your turn. And we just got busy over there, man. I love playing with DJ, man. He coming in, not really knowing him. I transferred my last year to Illinois, Chicago, playing against him in the United Center, and we beat him. And I actually talked trash about that. And so I didn't know how he was going to come in and feel about me. He was super cool, man. He's a great dude. Yeah, he went to work out there. Won a championship. The year I went to France after that, but he stayed and won a championship. Like he did really well out there.
Yeah, it's the relationships and the amount of talent that's overseas is crazy because you just think about so many
Man,
hard fives like over the years, and it's easy to forget about even as hoopers. Like when you say
right.
the name DJ Richards, I'm like, oh, fuck it,
Yeah,
fuck, you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's so many over the years, it's crazy. But playing overseas, talk a little bit about where you, I guess, 10 years. You said
Well, going on 10 years. This will be my
going on
if I
10.
mean, God willing, this Corona stuff, if everything goes smooth. This will be going into 10 years. But
So where you been at this whole time?
man, it's gonna take like another hour.
For real.
Nah. All right. I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna try to remember in order here. My first year, I mean, not counting G League, whatever else. I played in Cyprus, small island, small Greek island out in Europe. I played in Israel. I did some summer leagues. I played in Mexico, played in Dominican Republic, um, played in Finland, played in France, Germany, New Zealand / Australia. It's in the New Zealand League, the New Zealand Breakers. Um, Belgium,
It was just that.
yeah, Belgium, Latvia. Where was I? Oh, I was back in France this year. I don't think I left anything out.
Yeah,
That's
now
probably. I think that's it.
you've been everywhere. What is it? What you gotta know if I'm a college dude that's thinking about going overseas
Mhm.
mentally? Like what's
Right.
something you gotta prepare for? Like what do you need to know and something that you maybe just weren't ready for that after 10 years you know now?
Have a very open mind. You know, when you are coming to play overseas, not just basketball wise, but lifestyle wise. And there's some places that are very easy transition. Like if you go play in Western Europe and you go like kind of a Germany or even France, besides the language, like it feels like home kind of as far as the things you can do, the restaurants and things like that. But it's very different. And like I'll talk about the cultural side first. Well, I'll go to that second because that's deeper. But the basketball side, I'm not saying obviously keep what you know, but don't hold on to it too tight
Mm-hmm.
because I had to understand that you're going to a country or a coach or a team that has played basketball a certain way for longer than you've been alive. Like for example, I went to Israel. I came from playing for Tubby Smith. So you playing, you force them sideline, you push him baseline, force to the help, you push him up. But in Israel, they were teaching me, no, we want you to force him to the middle. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, if I force Rodney Williams to the middle, he's gonna go through his legs over my head. Like I'm not gonna do that. But they're like, no, we want you to force the middle because that's where everybody is. And I'm just like, all right. And when I was that young,
That'd
when I
be
was
hard to grasp, bro.
yeah,
That would be hard to do if you when you taught something, especially from Tubby.
right. And that's all muscle memory for those years. That's everything. Like, and that's not just Coach Smith, but even basic basketball since we're young in the States. It's like
Everyone.
that's what we're taught.
Yeah.
So when I'm closing out, I have to learn. I have to now close out the wrong way. But
Yeah, that don't feel right.
yeah, but it shouldn't be. I had to take out the word wrong in my head. I'm like, look, this isn't the wrong way. It's just their way. So you have to play their way. So same thing when every country I went to. When I went to France, I went to Finland. Like, there's always something that's different that you've been taught from a young age playing basketball that you're going to have to switch. You're going to have to change. And you just have to really be open-minded because I've seen a lot of guys who are amazing talents who could be in the NBA, who could be top in Europe, but I don't want to say they couldn't adjust. I just think they didn't want to. They're like, man, nah, that's not right. This isn't the way we play. This coach he's terrible. I'm like, no, this is how he coaches.
Yeah.
And you just have to adapt. And on the cultural side, you got to understand that you're going into a way of life that now, not just on basketball, people have lived for over hundreds of years. You know, in the States, we've been around, 300 years, 400 years, whatever else. These are people who have civilizations from thousands of years. Like, this is the way they do things. And if you come into a new culture and you're disrespecting this culture or these people, then it's not going to work out. You're going to have a stressful year.
Right.
And, like, I don't know, let's say, for example, like, I haven't played in Japan. I'd love to. I'd love to get there. It's like one of my favorite countries ever. But I know that they have a really interesting cultural balance of what they do and things they say, how they do it. And I've heard guys, I got a lot of friends and guys, and Damian Johnson was there. We used to talk all the time when he played there. And he was just like, dude, it's just different. Like, the way they do things, the way they handle things is just different.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to respect that. But if you go over there like, I'm American, I do this, I do that, like, this is how I live. Not to say you can't hold on to your identity as being American. It's an amazing thing, but you're now in a new world. You're in a whole new different set of normals. So you have to respect that. Like, when I played in France now. This is my it's my third, no, too long. It's my fourth time in France, actually.
Yeah.
And, playing there, obviously the language is different. Everybody speaks French, obviously. But, I feel like when there's a lot of guys who don't really like France or whatever, I'm like, dude, France is great. And I'm not saying you have to go there and speak French, but just try and learn a little bit, or just try and adapt a little bit, And as a player, I think our mentality is a lot different than Europe. If you watch The Last Dance, you see Michael Jordan getting on teammates, we get excited. Like, yeah, that's what's up. That's what I'm talking about, competitor.
Right.
But I had to learn when I went to Finland, when I went to France, when I went to other places, I had that fire, and I'm getting on guys, and it turned personal. It wasn't about basketball.
Yeah.
I can go to practice and yell at Al Nolan and yell at Damian Johnson, yell at Rodney, and be like, man, y'all ain't this, y'all ain't that, whatever. We got da-da-da-da. And at the end of the practice, it's like, yo, what we eating at? But you go to France, and if you don't say, like, for example, if I walk in the locker room and all my teammates are sitting around, you have to shake every individual's hand, like, say what's up. Like, that's what you have to do. You can't just walk in like, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? You shake everybody's hand. How you doing? Ça va? Comment ça va? Oh, bien? Ça va?
Ça va bien? Okay.
Yeah. You talk to everybody.
Right.
And if you don't do that, then the next day the teammate be like, yeah, man, like, why didn't you shake my hand yesterday? Like, that's not something we register. We're just like, oh, okay. Like, my bad, no disrespect. But that's just something that you have to remember, you have to learn, that you have to adapt to. It's different, but, if you have an open mind and, you're willing to adjust, then you'll be fine.
Yeah. What's the best country you played in? Your favorite country so far?
Oh, wow. Somebody recently asked me that. It's funny because usually when I get asked that question, I'm with my wife, and she's like, oh, I like this one. I'm like, yeah, I like that one. But I love New Zealand. New Zealand was amazing. Not just the country itself, like the country, the people, the whole vibe was great, but just being in a great situation, playing for my coach, Paul Hanari, was dope. Just being there, just the professionalism of it, the way they take care of not just you but your family. That's a big thing too. It's like you're going overseas, thousands of miles away. You want your family taken care of also. So the way they took care of my wife and I, and it was amazing. I love New Zealand. It was beautiful, beaches and all of that stuff. So probably New Zealand, and there's some other great ones too, though. But I mean, I lived in the south of France. That was ridiculous. It's like waking up out there every day was a blessing. But yeah, New Zealand for sure.
Yeah, I've heard New Zealand's a dope place, and the game's growing over there a lot. I feel like hoops is growing in the Australian side,
which is really like interesting. Like, I feel like that league should have a lot more teams. They only have, I think now it's maybe 9 or 10 teams. But they got talent over there, man. They really do. I just think that because they're so far away and they don't compete against the top European teams or whatever else, they don't get the respect they deserve. But that league is strong, man. I would advise anybody who has the opportunity to play there, go and stay there if you can. It's an amazing career out there.
I feel you. No, that's definitely something that I think a lot of athletes need to hear. Some of the advice you said though about that, and hopefully they do, regards to just mentally being open and going over there. I mean, I know guys I've even played with that have gotten frustrated. With
very frustrated.
Coaching, like when you talk that coaching example, I feel like that's one of the things I always hear about dudes. Like, nah, coach was tripping. They got to do this. But I mean, you say adjusting, like same thing probably when some of those Euro guys come to America and play in the NBA. I'm sure they have to get used to closing out with a different leg, probably.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest.
The game changes for him, especially. I mean, quick Tubby story overseas, which is funny, is because like I was playing in France, and I had a coach. He sat me down, and me and his coach are cool. These days and all that stuff. But at the time, we were kind of in a rough patch in the season, and he sat me down, and he was just like, I don't think you can play. He's like, I don't think you can play at the top levels in Europe. And I was just like, that's interesting to say to your player. But I'm like, well, why would you say that? He was like, it's not because of your skill or anything. It's just because you don't. He said something like you don't. What was the word? I'm trying to remember. He was like, it's not relating to coaches, but he was like, you don't really talk to coaches, or you can't. No, he said you can't take tough coaching is what he said. And which is weird because he wasn't a tough coach by any means. So I was just like, and we never got into it in practice. Like, I was like, what's the problem? And he was like, well, when I yell at you or if I tell you something, you just say yes, coach, and you keep playing. And I was like, well, yeah, I used to say yes, sir, to Tubby Smith, but what's wrong with that? Like, I'm a player. What do you want me to do? He's like, you can talk to me. You can, tell me how you feel. And I'm just like, all right. I was like, coach, have you ever heard of Tubby Smith? And he was like, who? I was like, Tubby Smith, like one of the top college coaches. No, I don't know him. And I was like, all right, never mind then. Like, if you don't know, then you don't know where I'm coming from. Like, as a coach, you're telling me, Paul, I want you to do this off the pick and roll. All right, I got you, coach. And you're upset. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's the barrier. There's like not just language barrier sometimes, but it's just like cultural barrier.
Cultural,
and he's like, my coach wanted me to come talk to him. Like, well, coach, how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, no, I play for one of the best coaches. I've been through a lot of basketball experience. My father played this and that. I don't need you to necessarily tell me how to play. If you tell me what to do, I'll do it because I'm a player. And it was just weird. Like, I was just like, dude, that was one of the things that was frustrating for me. I'm like, how you going to tell me I can't take tough coaching? I played for one of the toughest coaches ever. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's what he sees as a successful player. So it's like he's saying, since you can't do that, you won't be in the top league.
Yeah. And what's funny is the next year I went to the second top league in Europe, in Euro Cup, but whatever.
It doesn't matter. I was just looking. I just had a message coming in from Damian Johnson. He said, why did your former teammates call you Peanut Butter Carter?
Oh, you know what's funny? He texted like, you gotta ask him. I used to be like, because I thought I was smooth, but I don't know, dude. Damian Johnson had 5 nicknames for everybody. Like, I was Peanut Butter Carter. I was Paul Carter Jr. for some reason. I don't know what that was. Devron Bostic was Birdman Watson. Like, it was just like I was Alexander Cole. Like, cause some random kid called me that at a camp. Like, Damien, you got to answer that question, man. How you gonna tell me? You made the name up.
He just wanted you to bring it up.
Dang, man, funniest dude ever.
That's hilarious. No, I can't remember. Dame, who would you say just overall got just the most buckets in practice that tournament year, or who really just
my
ran
first year there, or my second one?
I would say that second year, defensive and offensive wise. Like, I'm talking with Trev, Royce, Dame, everybody there.
I'll say this. Dang, that's tough. DeVoe Joseph was a bucket.
Well, I was just about to say, that's when you brought up DeVoe earlier. I don't think, like, because you said DeVoe, then Cobbs, then Royce, when you were talking about guys that just left and went and ran programs.
Right. DeVoe was a bucket. But, I mean, Lawrence Westbrook was our leading scorer. Lawrence was a dog. Like, but what's funny about Lawrence is just
was
being
he strong?
Huh?
He was strong?
Yeah.
Tubby used to always tell stories about him to all us guards. Set screens like Lawrence Westbrook.
Yeah, dude. Lawrence was like, he was built like a running back.
Or run through screens like Lawrence Westbrook. That's what he used to say.
Lawrence was a pit bull. But what's funny is, like, offensively, I'll say bucket-wise, like, Wes was smart, though. He used to chill in practice. Like, he used to be in practice, not really, like, he just run the offense. He was just being chill with it. But in the game, he would kill cats. But in practice, man, I don't know, because it was so, like, we moved the ball around so much the way you play. I remember DeVoe standing out. I mean, Damian had his days. Al had his days. Al was more floor general, but I guess if he was feeling it that day, he'll go get a bucket. Justin, I don't know, man. Colton would get busy. Like, it was just, I don't know, but I'll say defensively, the toughest thing in practice is when Al and Damian were in that front court.
Mm-hmm.
And not the front court, but you know how you do that run and jump type, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just had it down to a science where Al would turn them and Damian would be right there stealing it every time.
Yeah.
And if we had a younger point guard, like when Justin first came in or when BA was there, like, and they had to bring the ball down court and I was on that team, by the time I'm jogging the half court, I'm turning my head, I'll hear, boom. I'm like, bruh, like, how many times they going to get you, dog? Like, stop spinning. Stop, like, they coming. I'm going to stay for the help. But, bruh, Damian and Al on defense were a problem. Like, it was, I never, like, if I was in the game and Al was picking up somebody full court, I would never even, like, worry about them getting past me, like, getting help side. Like, Al was not going anywhere. Damian the same way. Like, Damian was ridiculous. Just, dude, Dame, I don't even know if he knows that he did this, but I used to watch him and try and study like him defensively, but I was never that good. Dame used to look at plays in the playbook, and he would see where he can get steals, like on the other team's plays.
Yeah.
Like, he would look at it and be like, oh, they swing it here, boom. Like, they swing it here. And then me, one day I tried it, and I was just like, I don't think I'm smart enough for this. I'm good. like, I'm just going to play defense. Like,
I heard about Dame's
like a scientist with
abilities. I've heard about his defensive abilities. It was like that. I mean, I know he was long and could guard a lot.
Dude, he was cerebral, though. It wasn't just like, I'm out here just jumping around. Like, Dame really knew, like, yo, he'd tell me, yo, Paul, the screen's coming right here. You got to, oh, all right, cool. I was the same way. Paul, you know, we just, oh, okay. On defense, like, offensively, you like, okay, I know the players, I do this and that. But defensively, you don't even think about it. You just kind of react. Oh, the screen's coming here. You get over. I got to be help side on this play because he's going to shoot it here. But they really knew how to shoot gaps and timing. No, they were probably the best defenders I ever played with.
Nah, I can imagine, man. I'm talking. So when I think about that squad, obviously all y'all could get buckets, but I'm thinking from a talking perspective. So Ralph Sampson was my roommate, so I know he wasn't the one that was saying.
Wait, who's your roommate?
Ralph Sampson
was mine too.
Yeah, so when I was a freshman, he was a senior. So
okay.
You know,
so
Ralph,
you really got chill Ralph then. He wasn't talking about nothing.
Bro, Ralph was chilling by that time, bro. I came in, I had to go find my own wave at that time, but no. So I'm just talking to Ralph. We was kicking it, but as far as talking during your time, bro, like I've talked to mostly all y'all. So I'm thinking like you're saying a roster of Trev, of Royce, of Al, of Dame. I'm just thinking about them talking and how much they talk. Who talked the most trash on the court in practices during your time during those years?
Oh, that's funny. Your roommates and Ralph touched on that real quick because we were both roommates. I remember the first day I was with Ralph. I was like, "Yo, bro, you got to talk to me." I talk, so we got to talk. But Ralph was my boy to this day. I call him Game Genie because he cheat on every video game. But anyway,
I had the exact same experience with Ralph. He was my roommate. I feel like it's some special place if you was his roommate. You just know you still got that connection. Right. And he was always chilling with the video games in there. Chilling.
Always. Like, and I never beat him on any game. I was tight. I was like, dog, you cheating. I don't care what you say.
Always chilling.
But talking trash, man, we all used to talk. Like that group, we talked. But it was more so like within practice, you know, getting each other going. But I think Al used to talk a lot, but it wasn't like Al not only used to talk, but it wasn't like barking at you. It was always slick stuff that made you mad. Like I come off a screen or I would do something and make a mistake, get a turnover, and I would be like, "Don't worry, son, that's a good pass." Like you'd be like, "Shut up." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you just do something. And Al would say something. Al was always playful, but he was always talking a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes, some days, we would all just, I don't know if we were all frustrated or what, we would have our words. Damian would start talking, you know, Westbrook would start chirping. And I don't know, but Al always had something to say. He was kind of fun. Al was hilarious. Al, he'll get you going for sure. But it just depends. I don't know. It just depends on who was into it that day, because you might have played Madden earlier in that day and got beat by somebody. So now you're in practice talking trash to him, like. But I'll probably say Al for sure if I can get it right. Al or Damien. Damien was more like saying funny stuff just in general, or just saying things in practice, like getting everybody hyped. But Al will say something to you for sure.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine. It was probably a lot of talk at that time. That's probably why, like, I mean, I get like a Trevor and like even a Rodney during the end of their career. So you could tell, like, when Rodney came in, he was taught that type of stuff. So then by the time we're there,
Rodney was talking?
Rodney started talking.
Rodney just, well, I guess I got Rodney as a freshman, so he didn't say a word.
I can tell that. You could tell Rodney felt like, oh yeah, I'm the oldest one here now. So Rodney started talking to, I mean, Rodney was up there and talking for us as far as one of the top talkers, as far as everybody talking. I mean, everybody was talking during that time too, though. So it was cool, but I know how much Al talk, Dame talk. I feel like we probably won at that level as far as trying to talk.
But what about wait? So you were there, obviously you were there with Austin and Dre then too.
Yeah, so with Austin and Dre, I mean, they talk.
Chill. I can't see them talking trash.
Austin don't talk like that.
No, yeah, Austin's super. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Austin a good guy, man. He don't talk like that.
Yeah, that's my man.
Dre didn't really talk like that either. Dre don't really talk like that. I mean, a little bit here and there. Like, most of the talk came from Rodney, Trev, Older. I mean, honestly, and other than that, really, we didn't. Our talking came more so with Patino days. So I had 2 years Tubby, 2 years Patino.
Yeah, I was Patino.
It was cool, but he brought a whole different vibe. Because he East Coast, like real life East Coast. His recruits, his assistants, everything. And in terms of talk, it was a different type of talk because that's how they thrive from the East Coast. Like they talk before they hoop. Like that's everything.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a lot of trash talk during that time, for sure. But when like Rodney and Trev was still there, they talked about it. But then after that, I mean, it was quiet. Like Ralph, I don't know, Big Mo. Like Big Mo,
okay. I can see Mo being chill too. I don't know him that well, but I can see. I feel like he's a chill guy.
He a pretty chill guy. I think Tubby was getting stressed with y'all talking too much, so he had to recruit some more quiet guys. He had to chill some chill guys. No, but yeah, bro. I appreciate you talking today, man. I appreciate everything. Getting together, just Gophers back together, man. I appreciate. Like you said, the support of everybody. Right when people saw that you were getting put on the show today, the support was there right away. Like you said,
that's awesome, man.
I just think, like you said, it's a testament to the support that the Gopher community gives athletes while you're there and then after you're there, and it's just important that we keep tapping into that community and making sure we stay into it, and the guys that's coming through now just provide them with that guidance. But I think the support's really there. I think it's big.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I've been wanting to get back out there. I haven't been out there since my Timberwolves workout pre-draft. Like it's been hectic when you come home in the summer and only have a couple months. So it's but the support is crazy, man. And I always appreciated it. I always will. And a lot of people don't even know in Minnesota. Like I'm an alumni. Like I graduated from Minnesota. I just got my master's at Chicago. So, I'm definitely Gopher to the end. But it's just it's just love. It's all love. I keep up as much as I can as far as watching games late. I try to, especially like the new younger guys. It's hard for me to keep up sometimes, but I watch the women's side as well. I watch the ladies. They got oh my gosh, no, I'm not blanking on her name right now. She's coaching there. God forgive me, my wife is gonna kill me.
You talking about Lindsay Whalen?
Thank you, Lindsay Whalen. Oh, Lindsay, oh my God, forgive me. You're a legend. Always watched you. No, they're revving things up over there. So I definitely keep tabs. Go for football, going crazy, all of that. So
they're nice with it for sure. But yeah, man, that's what we're trying to do, man. That's what I'm trying to do too. We're gonna figure out more ways to keep us connected, and like I don't know if it's gonna be events once a year or something like that, but just chill things where people kind of start getting back and connected with the program, man. We see a lot of these other programs kind of preaching that brotherhood, but I think it's a real thing with us too. We just gotta keep connecting the different generations of it, because it's the support. The support's here, so we're gonna keep looking to do that.
Definitely, man. And just while I have everybody, what I'm saying, I just want to, for my time there, I don't think I ever got to, properly thank my coaches and stuff, Coach Smith and all them. Like I said, it was a hard process, but I am who I am today because of those coaches, and I appreciate that. And just like I said, the support for my sister. If I would have had my senior night there, I probably would have been in tears thanking everybody, man. But it was love. I appreciate everyone in the Minnesota community that ever, just showed love or whatever else. It meant a lot to me and my family. So, look, my wife wrote Lindsay. I'm sorry. And what's funny is I love Lindsay Webb. I love her game, everything. I always do. I watch the WNBA a lot, so please forgive me. I was just caught up in the conversation and couldn't even bring it up. But I like Lindsay Webb and Janelle McCarville, all of them, man. I remember that. But
sure. But no, yeah, I think they that's good to know, and I'm sure they want to hear that you appreciate the support. And yeah, a lot of times things just end. I mean, even if you're here for a senior night, sometimes you aren't able to show that support and show that appreciation for the support that you were given. So yeah, man, it's probably huge for you that you were able to go through that with a community like this.
No, definitely, man. Minnesota, like I said, man, I mean, not just selling the program, but if any kid has an opportunity to go play there, you'll enjoy it. The winters are cold, but the barn gets hot.
Right? Good way to
it'll be good. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's definitely love. I'm glad I was able to talk, and I'm glad we were able to link up because the time difference and all that. So
for sure, yeah, we got you back over across the water, so we'll definitely have to link up again soon here, man. But yeah, again, appreciate your time. Yeah, go Gophers. Have a good one,
Gophers, man. Appreciate it.
For sure. I'll see you.
Yep.